Hey guys, Zell here, and welcome back to some more FGO. It is now time to finally start Salem. Oh my god. Now, now this might be just like Shimosa, to where the beginning episode is around 40 minutes, 50 minutes long, just with stories, so let's do this. Who are we gonna see first? Is it gonna be Abby? Not bad at all. In fact, I dare say it came out rather well.
Good morning, Samson. Having late breakfast? Oh, what a wonderful smell. Is that a crepe?
Morning Marsh. No, this is a buckwheat galette. I heard we'd procured some lovely ham and found myself hooked after spending some time with the chef.
So you're using ham, cheese, and soft-boiled egg, and is that zucchini? It looks delicious.
Thank you. I often had galettes just like this when I was growing up in Paris, but they were originally a peasant dish from the Brittany region. It's even said they were served at the palace of King Louis XIV's mother, Anne of Austria. Ideally, I would have liked it to pair with hard cider, but...
Alright, exactly. You couldn't do that because we've run out, right? Apparently, someone broke into the kitchen and stole most of our alcohol.
Shootin'? Really, was it a thief?
I think so, since a number of rooms also experienced inexplicable blackouts around the same time.
I mean, she is an assassin, so she could get in and out with mysterious blackouts.
That's why I'm on the case right now. Holmes has been preoccupied with something in the hangar lately, so it's up to me to be the detective this time.
I see. In that case, I will gladly offer my assistance. Ever since the search for the 7 Holy Grails came to an end, what has brought me the greatest joy is the drastic improvements made to Chaldea's pantry. It's thanks to them that servants like us can enjoy seasonal delicacies and flavors from around the world. I am so grateful to be able to experience so many wonderful tastes, but ashamed to learn that there is a thief among us here in Chaldea.
Me too. Since Chaldea is still responsible for preserving humanity, managing our food stockpile is important.
Well said, My head. I feel sick.
Good morning, Robin. You seem a bit under the weather.
Oh, morning, Mosh. Don't mind me.
I can smell the alcohol from here, Robin.
He is clearly hungover. He must have drunk an immense amount to be this affected despite being a servant. Fortunately, this works out well here. Robin, drink up this onion soup. It'll get you hydrated and replenish some of the salt you lost. If that doesn't cure your hangover, drink a glass of water with some baking soda to reduce the acidity in your stomach. No thanks. I'm not drinking that. I've smelled rotting animals that weren't so rank. There aren't even any medicinal herbs in it. I mean, it's not like you're a witch or an alchemist or... my head.
I knew it, you're still in bad shape. What help could you be if there was an emergency right now?
I mean, I don't use them anyway, so not much.
Won't you please consider taking Santa's advice and having the soup? Also, I would appreciate it if you could tell me what happened last night, and please, don't skimp on any details.
Last night? Okay, if that's what you want, I couldn't care less what Dr. Frenchie says, but I can't say no to you. Still, there's not that much to tell. I just kind of ended up getting roped into a little drinking party the authors were having. Sometimes it's nice to just cut loose and drink like there's no tomorrow. Consequences be damned, you know. You know, I did say it was Shuten, but she has her own liquor, now that I think about it. Why would she need anything from Chaldea's liquor cabinet? Plus, she makes her own, doesn't she? It's these fools. Anyway, the last thing I remember is Amadeus crashing the party and drinking the rest of the booze. After that, it's all a blank. Ah, Amadeus. I swear, the man is a bottomless pit where alcohol is concerned. He always shows up unannounced at parties, drains the wine cellar as if it were his own, and doesn't even pay a single écu to boot. Robin, were you perhaps sent to raid the kitchen last night as an errand boy of sorts?
Now that you mention it, I think something like that might have happened. I see, I'm glad I'm making progress. I knew I could resolve a small case like this without asking Mr. Holmes for help. At any rate, it seems clear that you are all getting plastered on Caldea's reserves.
Indeed, what a sorry sight.
Yeah, not all of us were brought up with the luxury of using proper knives and forks for our dainty little breakfasts. Unlike some nobles I know.
I'm not a noble.
Oh, is that so? Maybe you're not, but you aren't exactly one of us commoners either, are you? What's going on with Robin? Does he have some sort of problem with Sanson?
Uh-oh. An alarm. What is that tablet of yours say, Mosh?
Let me see, it's a Type 3 alert. An abnormality has been spotted somewhere far away. I'll head for the command room.
Could we turn it down? The sound is the last thing I needed with this headache.
Robin, you need to take care of your hangover before you do anything else.
Agreed. Once you do that, I shall take you to see the chef. Got it. Take care, Mosh. Don't push yourself too hard now. Looks like things have finally calmed down. Guess they've got a handle on the situation now. Oh well, it ain't any of my business. I'm A-OK steering clear of the limelight. All those hot-blooded hero types can handle demon schemes and threats to humanity just fine without me. This soup really does hit the spot. Hey, so you did take it.
I'm here. What's the situation?
Morning, Mosh. You're looking fluffy as ever, Mosh. Fua? Why?
Did you say fluffy? I'm afraid I don't know what you mean by that, but thank you, Senpai.
Hey, either way, I got her to blush. She probably would have blushed on the other one as well, but I want to know why you say fluffy. Gabriel Iglesias? That's the only fluffy I currently know.
In fact, you're looking kind of fluffy yourself, too. Like here, when you've still got some bed head.
I don't know why I just said head twice. It was an echo.
Okay, you two. It's too early in the morning for flirting, and the command room isn't the place.
Hey, I can flirt with Masha anytime I want, Da Vinci, and you can't stop me. You're looking mighty fine yourself. I bet if I said that, she probably would say, oh, okay. She wouldn't mind it if I did it with her, but with Masha, she tells us to get a room, even though we already have one.
That's better. Now then, here's all the information we've got so far. You can fix your bed head while you listen, Cell.
I can have Mosh do it.
First of all, we know that the alarm originated in North America. We're detecting an incredible magical energy signature, but the threat level is fairly low, at least for now. At the moment, we're sending in a fleet of investigative drones to collect more intel and communicating with the local authorities. We'll also coordinate with the North American branch of the Major Association, since Chaldea doesn't observe this phenomenon. Didn't. However, there aren't many association agents in North America, so I doubt they'll be of much help. Where exactly in North America is this coming from? If you'll direct your attention to the screen right here, this image was just taken by one of our stationary satellites. The United States East Coast, specifically, an area north of Boston, Massachusetts. Come to think of it, it's still the middle of the night over there, isn't it? Even so. It's so dark, I don't see a hint of light anywhere. It looks more like a crater than anything. That's right, it's pitch black, complete in total darkness. We can't detect so much as a hint of artificial light within a perfectly circular 7-kilometer radius. There's no blackout or freakout weather. Magecraft is the only explanation for something like this.
Or witchcraft?
Naturally, since it's covered in such total darkness, we don't have any other visual data.
Do we know what's in the middle of this darkness?
As I recall, there was a port town here at this inlet. I think its name was...
Salem. It is a cursed name both for the white man and for us.
Geronimo.
My presence was requested, and so I have come. Are you sure I can be of use, Da Vinci? My tribe knows little of the sea after all.
I'm sure, Geronimo. In fact, you're the perfect warrior for the job. The proud members of your tribe have been attuned to that land's voice since ancient times, so we could really use your wisdom right now.
I see, so the situation has become so dire that you're making a formal request for my help. Very well, I'll be of assistance however I can.
What about the people inside darkness? Are they alright? At the moment, we have no way of knowing. So far, the U.S. Army's reconnaissance drones haven't picked up any sign of the local populace or even any radio transmissions. Simply put, 50,000 people who just finished a perfectly ordinary day have inexplicably disappeared. I can only imagine what the White House advisors are going through right now in the run-up to the inevitable press conference. That's terrible.
Could this be a demon god pillar?
You mean one of the demon god pillars that escaped when Gatium was destroyed? Yes, well, this is almost certainly the work of a demon god pillar. That said, the extent to which it seems not to even be making an effort to conceal the insidious nature of this anomaly concerns me. Any other abnormalities we've dealt with over the past several months, like Shinjuku and Agatha. The culprits tried to keep their identities a secret. On top of that, both of those singularities occurred in the past. Hell, in Agatha's case, it was so thoroughly hidden that it was literally miles under the ground. But that is not the case here. It's taking place right now, and it's so obvious that even the US government knows about it. Neither of the other demon god pillars attempted anything like this, and that is truly worrying. Still, at the least, this singularity is on a much smaller scale and reminds me of Fuyuki and how it's only covering a single town.
Smaller scale? Only in comparison with what we have seen so far, you mean. But even now, I can't see this tragedy unfolding before my eyes. I can. I pray that the dawning sun will chase away the curtain of darkness that has befallen this land. So what will you do now, Da Vinci, and you, my friend? We have to get to Salem right now.
Right, Senpai.
I'm afraid I disagree. The time is not yet right.
But there are people in clear and present danger, 50,000 of them no less.
We do not know for sure that this is not a trap. It's possible that we may end up being glad that only tens of thousands of people lost their lives there. We're still very much in dark ourselves. All we know for certain is what Da Vinci said. Never before have we seen such a bold approach as this. I sense that the demon god lying in wait in this darkness is more cautious and villainous than any we have yet faced. Da Vinci, there been any updates in the investigation? Any further details come to light?
Yes, there have been a few more updates, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. When the darkness first appeared, it quickly expanded to its current radius in just a few seconds before its progress suddenly stopped. Since then, it's remained completely static, at least from the outside. Maybe it's from the Association of Sentient Familiars, but we've lost contact with each and every one of them. Land, sea, low, flying air, no matter how the familiars attempted to infiltrate the darkness, not a single one of them has reported back. On top of that, the directors of Boston's Holy Church haven't been quiet about this either. This unidentified phenomenon precludes the use of spiritual evocation, sacrifices, ritual... Why does he rituals? Runes. Summoning circles and anti-fortress and anti-army for noble phantasms in the areas surrounding Salem. These areas include parts of Beverly, Peabody, Danvers, Marblehead, Swampscott, and Lynn. We regretfully report that we have not discovered any evidence of magical involvement, nor can we completely rule it out in regards to the situation. All that means this phenomenon has taken the church completely by surprise. So it's safe to conclude that none of the persons of interest they've been keeping an eye on have gone near Salem either. You can tell this was a real bitter pill for them to swallow, especially given how proud they are. It's a bit of a surprise for them to throw up their hands in bafflement like this. Though that's not to say they're at a loss for words, one of them went on to add. Were I to venture my personal opinion, I might say that it seems as if the very hand of God himself has laid waste to the earth. Can you believe that? Sure doesn't sound like something a man of the cloth should go around saying, if you ask me.
Well, it would appear to be a different God than the other what their faith sees as the one true God.
I've heard rumors about Chaldea staff being stationed around the world for some time now. But I had no idea they were also working at major association branches in the Holy Church. Of course they are. They're covert agents we planted on site to blend into their respective areas. The Chaldea's security organization hasn't just been sitting around twiddling its thumbs waiting for these stray demons to reappear, you know. These agents aren't just a part of our overall effort, though. I have to admit that it wasn't easy finding people with no familial or community ties to get to come work for us. Roman always excelled at hiring the right kind of people. He did leave behind a manual detailing his procedures, but it's not just the same. Just not. Still, it definitely helped. Once I knew where to look, it was just a matter of balancing the budget. I recruited mages, demonology experts, and exorcists and stationed them in cities of interest. And Boston just so happened to be one of them. The other North American agents should all be gathered there by now. At this point, we're still running recon. Since we're not on site ourselves, the best thing we can do right now is gather as much information as we can and figure out our next move. So we wait for news from people we trust? That's right, at times like this, there's nothing wrong with depending on others for help. You've really grown, Cell. Trying to handle everything yourself is the height of arrogance and can lead you to terrible mistakes. And in the end, your life with nothing but grief. I mean, I've done well so far. I'm led to see that self-sacrifice isn't your answer to everything anymore. Still, isn't there anything we can do? Of course, plenty in fact. Now that the alert level has been raised, we're getting reports from all over the world. Somebody has to determine if they're authentic and whether they're related to what's happening in Salem. I'd like you to handle that, Masha. Understood. And now that I think about it's time we pulled in a certain great detective to help us out. His work in the hangar should probably have gotten boring to him by now, so he'll probably be in his room or just wandering around Chaldea. So, would you mind speaking with Holmes yourself? Of course, I doubt you'll have much luck when he barely even pays attention to what Watson has to say. I see. Don't worry, we'll handle that too. I'll drag him in here by force if I have to, just like Mrs. Hudson. Besides, Da Vinci, have you been cooped up in here since last night? Ah, you noticed, did you? You're right, I was actually in the middle of testing a certain summon when the alarm sounded. Just between us, the timing couldn't have been worse. Even geniuses like me can make mistakes. For a moment, I was afraid I might unwittingly cause a second huge Chaldea explosion. Is there anything I can do to help?
You say you wish to have a hand in matters of paperwork. I don't think such orderly, delicate work is suited to your talents, friend. For the moment, why don't you wait until you were ready to act? You can catch up on your napping in the meantime.
I agree, Senpai. Please let us handle this for now. I may no longer be able to fight on the front lines, but in return I'll do everything I can to support you from the back here.
I mean, technically speaking, there are times where I've brought you out to the front lines and you've done absolutely fine.
So, I mean, you just pick and choose when you can?
Or can you legitimately not do that right now?
I don't know, man.
I'm still looking forward to that, you know, Mashu altar. That's totally gonna become a thing, right? I highly doubt it. But if Mashu altar ever actually did become a thing, I would blow every single last sync quartz I have to try to summon her. Unless you would get her for free. I don't know. I'm just really curious what an alter Mashu would look like in act. Because this Mashu's all nice and everything else. Would alter Mashu be a sadistic, masochistic, sadist? I kind of want to see what Mashu would be like it as all of those.
That's the sort of Kohai I aspire to be.
Uh-huh. So who's this mysterious servant?
Thanks for waiting, everyone. We're nearly ready to begin this operation now. What's more, this will almost certainly end up being the final Rayshift. The final Rayshift?
No! Why is that?
Because we now know that this is the very last Demon God Pillar, the last singularity to be observed on Earth. We may not have been able to determine where the Demon God Pillars that escaped from the Temple of Time had hidden themselves, but we were able to find the distortions in space-time they created wherever they went. Not that we could have done that without Caldeas, of course, and it's also those readings that are telling us this will be the last. The Mages Association and the UN have jointly decided to halt all Rayshift operations from following this pseudo-spiritual transfer. After this, following authorization from new director being appointed in December, we won't be able to Rayshift anymore no matter what. That's disappointing to hear, but it does make sense. We shouldn't be Rayshifting after humanity has stabilized anyway, since it does involve time travel. Exactly, which is why the Rayshift technology will be sealed away once we've dealt with this final instability. It's now been 72 hours since this large-scale disappearance occurred on the east coast of North America, with Salem at its center. Let me start by telling you what we've learned directly from our own investigation and information gathering. First off, we decided to call the darkness that sprang up out of nowhere to Cavala Salem to mist. Given how it absorbs all invisible light and other forms of electromagnetic waves and doesn't obey any laws of physics, we are certain it's an instance of magecraft. Its scale remains unchanged since it first appeared, as I mentioned earlier, a near-perfect circle with a radius of 7 kilometers. We also know that the mist extends upwards to an average altitude of 600 meters. It's easy to enter this area, but so far nothing that has been done so has made it back out. Every one of the unmanned vehicles, unmanned surveillance units, drones, and closed-circuit robots by the U.S. Army has been swallowed up by the darkness. Either that, or they simply ceased functioning the moment they got too close, and apparently my English has gotten very bad. I'm sorry for that. I don't know why, it just tends to slip out.
They have also tried using helicopters. I'm told they are called Apaches. The low-end sensors, but all of those ended up being destroyed as well. So not even a single drone made it back?
I'm afraid not. Each and every one of them ended up broken and inoperable. A number of journalists snuck past the Army's blockade and went into the mist themselves, but
there's no sign that any of them have returned. The same is true of the trained animals that were sent in for reconnaissance. Poor things. Nor have we been able to confirm any birds or wildlife, either coming from or going into the mist. Curses. Then it has become a completely barren wasteland, a barbaric land of darkness that does not suffer even a single watt to pass.
We next tried to fight magecraft with magecraft by bringing in our own mages. They sent in familiars protected by magical barriers, cyber demons, automata, and more. Unfortunately, despite the local staff's best efforts, those ended in failure too. But as of last night, we finally received word that a single attempt was successful, returning with valuable new information.
Could you not have just led with that and spared us all the extra nonsense? I mean, what do the U.S. Army's troubles really matter to us? How dare you! Have you no respect for their sense of duty? My schedule is completely shot thanks to having to write the manuscript on such short notice. Just look at these bags under my eyes. Now, my friend, I understand how you feel, but let us not make hills into mountains. The important thing is that our work is now done. Our duty is passed like a ship in the night.
You there, leave that alone. We need it for dealing with the missed properties and to prepare future countermeasures. It's especially important that you understand this part, so.
Why were you two writing a manuscript? You weren't able to contract the inside even with Magecraft. Oh, that we poor feeble authors were beset by a storm last night, but I believe your attention would be better spent on the matter at hand.
The only thing that made it back was a single mechanical doll. It was originally designed to be a clock before Puppet Master Mage, disguised as a clockmaker, repurposed it. It's made out of oak gears, cast iron nails, and baleen, a robot created without any modern technology whatsoever. This medieval robot Mage bring back sketches of what things are like inside the mist by automatically transcribing what it saw with its crystal pupils. Take a look at these.
Okay. A well. Oh god. Oh god, no. The ring? The well reminds me of the ring. And that ain't good. I see. Yes, this is definitely Salem. A peaceful run-of-the-mill village whose pious residents live their lives with integrity. However, this is not modern-day Salem. These sketches clearly show how it looked centuries ago.
Right, we cross-referenced them with our records and found that they were identical to Salem in the late 17th century. Basically, the world within darkness is 17th century Salem, as it was in colonial times.
I see. That would mean it's still British territory then. No wonder the US Army was so completely useless. Be quiet. This cowardly invasion cannot stand. What about the 50,000 people who live there now? Remember, this is not the first time this land has been invaded.
As we've established, the recorded observations around Salem in the 17th century. The only way the robot could make such observations is if the past has been faithfully recreated, or if some manner of magecraft is displaced in the area itself. It's fascinating to ponder, but the effect this could have on humanity is immeasurable. This is almost certainly the work of a demon god pillar still plotting to incinerate humanity. Demon god pillar? That reminds me. Geronimo, earlier you said that the name Salem is cursed. What did you mean by that?
That's all in the past now. It belongs to history. Do you mind if I tell this story, Mr. Edison? By all means, though we may wish it weren't so, this remains a part of our nation's history. Very well then, the town of Salem and its neighboring lands were home to 3 tragedies. The first was plague. When a white man came to our shores, he brought with him an epidemic that nearly wiped out the Massachusetts tribe living in Boston Harbor. The second was war, albeit this war was more of a massacre. The Wampanoag tribe, members that managed to survive the plague, put up a valiant fight. But in the end, their chief's skull still became an ornament for the white man's village. Never mind that, the white man only survived the cruel winter thanks to the resources the Wampanoag left behind. Now, sugar's truly bitter irony. The state would go on to be named after the Massachusetts tribe. These events would be celebrated as a national holiday. Finally, the third tragedy that took place in Salem was the witch trials. This time, the white man went around killing his own kind. Fearing the devil's influence, they hung many innocent people. I trust you now see why it is called a cursed land.
I do. So do these trials have anything to do with Jean? Wait, trials? I thought the term was witch hunt.
Haha, it may seem that way, but in truth the two events were completely unrelated. Witches were never anything more than another creation of man's favored imagination and infinite capacity for self-delusion. Firebird and Cauldron Bubble, Toil and Trouble, they are merely characters who only ever appeared in works of fiction. I may have made use of them myself in my own stories, but I've never once encountered a genuine article. Furthermore, those who claim these fictional beings are real in order to serve their own selfish ends are simply in denial of that delusion. In mine own time, as well, people sense the truth through their skin and scent. Yet they did rarely put pen to paper to express what they truly thought. That there is indeed a collective unconscious that fears witches and their curses. Now that some time has passed since then, I wonder what things are like in the modern day. I believe that is relevant than one might think. I have no interest in determining where in history 17th century Salem should fall. Nevertheless, it is abundantly clear that piety was not the only thing the Puritans brought to the New World. Those who loathe sin, who would judge sinners by their own hands, are inevitably the sort who wish to engage in sin themselves. Such people will always exist, no matter the day and age. It is a fundamental aspect of the criminal mind. So what, then, is a witch, a criminal, or a victim? The answer to that question has changed as people's beliefs have shifted over time. As one who understands the mysterious and mystic and rejects the guidance of an unknowable god, I would say the witch trials were exactly what their name suggests, a lawful process used to pass judgment on so-called witches. An attempt to manage the frenzied panic of the witch hunt in a stylish, civilized manner. Of course, offering madness a seat at the dinner table after it comes barging in unannounced does nothing to change its inherent nature. Thus, the persecution of witches continued unabated in the West until it culminated in its final chapter in the New World. Ironically, in Salem, a land steeped in pious faith. It was there where the devil truly ran free, where reason and desire, scientific spirit, and occult mindsets came together. Enough. Put the violin away. What possible use could it be here? If you just want to hear yourself talk, then go to your room where you won't bother anyone. Oh, that was a bit long-winded, and here I thought I was being considerate by drawing the listener in with generous amounts of exposition. I think that's enough with witch child talk for now. For my part, over the last few days I've been investigating whether there might have been any changes in the past events. I've been checking the repaired foundations over and over for signs of instability. I haven't overlooked anything yet. Something is still going on. There's something about this singularity that's unlike any we've seen so far. Some small distortion that threatens the very rules of our world. The data is indeed accurate, and this case is undeniably clear for all to see. Which means the culprit is closer to a god than a human, a demon god to be precise. It is certainly no surprise that a demon god pillar would act veiled in secrecy, but even mysterious acts like this are bound by incontrovertible rules. However, these rules cannot be tested from the outside. To do so, one must venture inwards to get, as they say, up close and personal. Holmes is right. If we can't get information that makes sense from the outside, then we have to investigate from the inside. Master Celis, Cordea's our acting director, I'm formally requesting to be the one to enter the mist. I want you to investigate whatever is inside, rescue as many people as you can, find the Demon God Pillar, and destroy it. Okay, but how exactly do I do that? Yes, ma'am. You're up, Marsh. Right, the mist-bounded field. We've conducted a number of tests in our analysis of the one automata that successfully returned, and learned that the mist eliminated anything made with the post-17th century technology. That's why the cutting-edge drones that were sent in ceased to function. What's inside the mist? Well, as the acting commander said earlier, there do appear to be humans inside. What's more, we believe they are leading normal lives despite their confinement. Normal lives, and the people who live there are all right. But wait a moment. Wouldn't they be panicked out of their minds? I know I would.
I'm afraid Unfortunately, we don't know whether those people are safe. We haven't gathered enough information yet. As you saw from the sketches, the area inside the mist has changed completely. It appears to be recreating Salem in the way its people lived their lives in the late 17th century. Whatever the reason for that may be, that's where we need to begin. How did you learn all that from an automata alone? This was information we gathered from the near-future observation lens Sheba. Incredibly detailed information too. Especially given that it was observing something in present-day space-time. Usually Sheba isn't much help at all, so the whole staff was puzzled by why we were able to use it here. I'm sure there's a good explanation for it, but since we don't have time to figure that out right now, I'm just going to chalk it up to an unexpected stroke of good luck.
Indeed, truly. This is an act of providence. God has clearly seen fit to bless us in this dire time. Now, we should hurry and find a way through that field, whatever it takes.
I agree, which is why Holmes and I put our heads together and came up with a possible strategy. A Rayshift that will result in the same error. This way we can send you straight to the heart of Salem without moving you across time. However, there are two major conditions involved with this plan that I need you to understand. So, as I explained earlier, we get one round-trip Rayshift period. What's more, the number of people we can shift is severely limited. The association has already forced us to shut down the reactor in Caldea's basement. So we only have enough remaining magical energy for one last large-scale round trip.
There are exceptions to every rule here. It's goes to show you can't cross a bridge until you come to it.
We're not operating independently anymore. We can't afford to be optimistic or even pessimistic. As for the second condition, you'll need to dress for the occasion so that you don't stand out in the late 17th century Salem. Think of it as officially sanctioned cosplay.
Ah, yeah.
It may sound silly, but we believe it will be essential to letting you move on in Salem unimpeded.
Sounds great to me. I'll go first then.
You can't.
Why not?
Bill, tell them.
Indeed. Once we've learned all this, Lady Da Vinci asked us to come up with a scenario for infiltrating the area. I nearly fainted when I first thought she was asking me to sneak in. So you can imagine my relief to know this is not the case. You do know, you don't have to share every thought that comes into that swollen head of yours, don't you? After all, we summoned are but a band of fools and eccentrics, as such, we are well suited to being actors. Thus, in this scenario, you will visit Salem as a part of a traveling group of performers, a troupe, if you will. What a joke! The great William Shakespeare reduced to writing a script for a glorified circus act. I knew even before you put your quill to paper that, taking into account the inexperienced actors and the ill-tight audience, there was no way the script would be suitable. Now, Anderson, there is nothing more delightful in a story than a surprising and well-conceived twist. In this case, we hardly need world-class talent, of course. They'll need to be able to perform in some fashion or the whole ploy will be for naught. But a troupe is, by definition, a place where those who are otherwise unable to earn a living drift together, which makes it perfect for camouflage. Wait, hold up, you mean we're going to be performing?
Is there a problem with that? I think it's a pretty clever idea myself. As for the which servants will actually be joining this troupe, I decided to choose them myself, taking Bill's opinion into account, of course.
Let me tell you, it's a terrible headache coming up with a scenario that fit these rank amateurs. Still, that's not to say it wasn't fulfilling. Go ahead and knock yourselves out with this manuscript. Just make sure you pay in full and upfront.
So then, neither Shakespeare or Anderson will be joining this mission. What about you, Geronimo? I'm sure Senpai would be greatly relieved to have you along.
I'm sorry, Marsh, but I can't do that. I wasn't cast in this operation either. No doubt they thought my inclusion would lead to unforeseen difficulties, even as a member of the troupe. I would like nothing more than to help, but not if it means putting my friend in danger.
Oh, I see. On the flip side of that, what's gotten into you, Medea? You loved this idea from the moment you heard it. You said you'd refuse, even if we use a command spell. Does the fact that you've been standing around without making a peep mean you still haven't made a decision? Well, I guess I'm still thinking about it. You want to send Medea to Salem? Are you serious? If she is just going to pretend to be a troop member, that's far too dangerous. After all, Medea really is a...
Exactly. Regardless of Medea's extenuating circumstances, sending a real witch to a place famous for witch hunts is the height of folly. Boy, dull, dim-witted. I should have expected no better response from a lion. Quite. There is not a hint of humor or adventure to be found in it. Indeed, couldn't have said it better myself. Ha, go ahead and laugh if you want. I'm used to being ridiculed by selfish so-called geniuses. But this is neither the time nor the place to be discussing humor or fashion or patterns. There are American citizens who have been swallowed up by this darkness. Their very lives are at stake. If you want to be funny, then save it for the movies.
I understand you're very patriotic, Edison, but I'm afraid things just aren't that simple. This may be the modern day, but we're dealing with a world from the past in a town of witch hunts where the external support just isn't an option. Common sense alone won't get us through this. We need specialist expertise. That's why we're counting on Medea to serve in an advisory role. If a demon god is behind this, then it's going to be an extremely difficult mission. And there's no one better suited to find the line between superstition and magecraft than her. Of course, we really didn't expect this request to upset her like it has. But if she changed her mind after sleeping on it, then all's well that ends well. But... settle down, there's no problem here. No, wait, let me try that again. There's no need to make a fuss over things that haven't come to pass, Marsh. I swear by Hecate that I won't let any harm befall Master.
What's this? Are you feeling a bit off today or something?
I was just in a bad mood last night. Anyway, it's up to Master to make the final call. Am I wrong, little writer?
I'm getting chills. There's something seriously wrong with her. What about you, Marsh? Are you coming along too?
I can't. I was never part of the cast to begin with, so... Anyway, now that you're all caught up, I'm going to go ahead and begin the Rayshift preparations. In the meantime, Sal, I want you to brief everyone we chose to accompany you. Remember, we don't have a lot of time before you need to leave. I especially want you to keep in mind that this is our one and only chance to Rayshift.
Who the hell are the other members of the troop? I doubt it's Astolfo.
Oh.
What are you reading there? Hi, Marsh.
Oh, this is the file for the mission. Did you already finish your briefing? Me, don't worry, I'm fine. I've been working pretty hard these last few days. I'm feeling better now that I've had a bit of a break. Compared to what you and everyone else who's about to head to Salem must be going through. I'm sorry, you're right. Looking back now, I have been a bit discouraged. It goes without saying that at this point, but I'm not a combatant anymore. I'm Da Vinci's assistant and a summoning circle engineer. Having an ordinary Chaldea staff member like myself go to somewhere like Salem would only put me and everyone else in danger. I just wish there was some way I could be useful. Useful, that's it.
Marsh?
I'm sorry, Senpai, I just remembered something urgent I have to do. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to prepare right away. See you later.
What was that about? Now that was some impressive Kohai power. Marsh?
Okay, looks like everyone's all set. We'll be sending a party of 6 into Salem, including Cell. Once again, do not let your guard down after making your way past the bounded field. Make sure not to say or do anything that would give away the fact that you aren't originally from the 17th century. Alright, initiating Rayshift sequence. Wait! But please, take me with you to Salem! Well now, that's a pretty last minute request, but I'm afraid we've already filled all the roles we need. There aren't any other... Yes, there is. I've heard that trips like these have a promoter who works behind the scenes to feed the performers their lines.
Prompter. I was... yeah, whatever. I said promoter only because I was thinking of like the promoter for the troop. It actually gives us our gigs, our jobs. Who, yeah, whatever.
In that case, I believe Senpai will need a dependable Kohai to be her secretary. Don't worry about the scripts, I've already learned them all by heart. I dare say you won't find a better prompter than me on such short notice anywhere. So once again, I request to accompany the rest of the troop. Of course, I'm certain I can be useful as an on-site called ASF member as well.
I second that request. You memorized our entire script. Well. I'm impressed. I certainly can't argue with that. What do you think, Mr. Showbiz? The script needed a bit of support. My script is nothing less than perfection itself, however. Even a perfect script means little without actors to bring it to life. A prompter to feed the performers on stage the lines, you say, Such a role could be crucial to ensuring the success of a performance put on by an amateur cast. Above all, I cannot help but commend her for memorizing the entire script. As such, I am more than happy to support Marsh's request. Besides, if the troupe cannot perform convincingly, they are certain to come under suspicion. To be honest, I think this would be a great help.
What do you think, Geronimo?
I'm afraid I can't concur. Having a young girl accompanying a troupe of performers is bound to invite to misunderstandings. It would be dangerous even without the threat of combat, but I will say that Marsh seems to have taken all that into consideration. In which case, I believe this is Master's decision to make. I mean, come on, it's the final Rayshift. We're bringing Marshu along. She hasn't been able to come with us in a long time. What if we say she's the troop's leader's little sister? Honestly, I did think I could use an assistant. Little, if anything, I believe Marsh would be more convincing as your older sister. Marshu as an One-san. I'm alright with that. I'll warn you now, still. Such a pretense would only invite further suspicion.
Me playing Senpai's older sister?
I am again totally fine with that.
I can see you're set on this. The other party members don't appear to have any objections. If Sal's okay with it, then I have no real basis to refuse Marsh's request. But let me give you this warning. Integrity won't keep you safe in a world of abnormalities. Sometimes you'll need to be a straight-up sophist or to look the other way. At times like that, you'll need to weigh your own principles against the mission's success. Understood, I'll keep that in mind.
I'm counting on you, Sal. Good luck.
To Salem! Look, everyone, we're off. Alright then, in that case, I hereby issue the Remnant Order's final command. Master Cell will arrive at the Salem Singularity at the current time. Make sure you make full use of your experience to date and see to it that you come back safely from this especially exceptional mission.
Oh boy! That's a lot of story in 51 minutes, jeez.
Excellent. Everything looks good with the Rayshift. Okay, let's get back to monitoring our duties. All servants remain on standby until further notice.
Do you think it was a good idea to let her go along? I knew that Marsh would want to go. You're the one who was most against it, Da Vinci.
I've never been accused of being a witch myself. Oh, not in the broom-flying, wand-wielding, people-cursing sense so much as being thought of as a heretic. Somebody claimed that the autopsies I did for research were evil rituals. I'm sorry to say that back then, I didn't handle it very bravely. Instead of standing up for what I believed in, I found myself at a loss for words. I turned my back on the truth and had to lie about who I really was. Over time, that kind of pressure starts to eat away at you. It's like poison more than anything else. I just thought that Mars was a little young to go through that kind of torture.
Don't be silly. The two have all seen nearly every side of humanity by now. The ugliness of the witch trials should put a nice bow on the whole thing. Besides, the very notion of sending a troop of performers into a Puritan village was utter lunacy from the Genesis. Indeed, fighting fire with fire, as they say.
Huh? Where are Cell and the others? Did they already leave?
Well, well, well. So the Medea we thought was Medea was not actually Medea, but was an imposter coming along. Uh-oh. Now, who's great at camouflaging themselves? I don't know. It could be Sheba. It could be Abby. It could be either one of the two servants that were first able to summon on the very first banner of Salem. I don't know.
Huh? What are you still doing here?
What's going on? Was there a problem with the Rayshift? Oh, we seem to have gotten our twist rather early in the story. How delightful! How is this delightful? This is terrible. Is there no way that we can contact them?
I've been knocked out this whole time. That wasn't me who went along. That was someone pretending to be me, using magic as a disguise.
So we're dealing with someone capable of outwitting a witch. This is bad.
If you're here then, who's the Medea who went to Salem?
Uh-oh. Dun dun dun. This ought to be fun. Pseudo Singularity 4, Humanity Foundation Value. 1692 AD, the Forbidden Advent Garden Salem, Heretical Salem. Oh dang, it's completely pitch black. Holy. 6? Right out the gate? And they're level 80s. Wow. Alright, well with that, I guess I'm going to end this episode here on a cliffhanger. Who came with us to Salem? Was it any of the servants I mentioned? Was there someone else I didn't even mention or even know that exists currently in Salem? I don't know. The person was wearing a cloak. I seriously do not know. So yeah, I'm not only leaving you guys on a cliffhanger, I'm leaving myself on a cliffhanger. And apparently my box here is full. Oh boy. Too much crap, man. Too much crap. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one where we will actually now start Salem in the Quiet Forest. So yeah, till then, see you guys later.